Hey friends, you read it right. I'm doing a recap of Ready to Love Dallas, which I currently am in the season, and I'm going to be recapping episodes 5 through 8. And if you haven't already, check out my other video, which is here. And it's a recap of the first through the 4th episode, okay? Yay! Let's get into it. So I have my handy dandy iPad that I'm going to be using, and I'm pumped. So let's get into it. Oh, wait, before we get into it, I am Keyra Ford, your real estate cheerleader, and I help you take ownership of where you live and how you live. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. And if you are not new and you've been rocking with me for a while, I love you. I appreciate you. Yes. All right, let's get in. So episode 5. Episode 5 is when we are at the hoedown, and then it shows the end of us at the hoedown. It's when Red gets eliminated. Red was my guy. I loved Red. Red was super cool. Also in these recaps, I really don't touch that much on other people. I really just try to focus on myself, just because we live in a very sensitive culture, and we'll just leave it at that. Okay. So Red goes home at the beginning of episode 5. And what I love about Red is that he's just himself. I feel like who he is on camera is who he's off camera. And I enjoyed my experience with Red. Needless to say, let's keep it pushing. Also in episode 5, we had the improv class. So that is when I was with Marie, myself, Sierra, Jessica, Herbert, and Chris. Ooh, excuse me, guys. And so we went to an improv class where we were just trying to make each other laugh. I was very uncomfortable. First off, I didn't really feel like I had a friendship with many of the women on the show. So having a date with Sierra and Jessica kind of was just, just okay. I think Jessica's cool. I think she's better when she's not around Janelle. I also think that Sierra's cool, but she's easily influenced, and she kind of goes with whoever she wants to go with. Because I actually think I connected well with her at the mixer, the first initial meet. And then things, just transpired how they transpired. But we had a group date. There was great food, great drinks. I know I get on stage. I got on stage with Chris. I got on stage with Herbert. I got on stage with Marie. We got on stage with everyone. We did lots of group activities, which was great. I'm sad that they didn't get to show all of that, but they did show. They showed when I was on stage with Marie, which is funny because I never had a connection with Marie. I never told them I wanted to be on a date with Marie. However, they kind of just set you up with whoever they feel they want to set you up with. So I'm on the stage, and the narrative that they've kind of painted was like, I guess, me and Marie, which, like I said, I don't know why, but they did. So I talk about my non-negotiables, because episode 5 talks about, what are your non-negotiables? Make sure you're talking about those things. That's what the assignment was from Uncle Tommy. And I made sure I told him that I need a man who knows and loves God. So being God-fearing is very much at the top of my list. That's what I want my husband to have. That's what I pray that God wants my husband to have. And so he kind of made a joke, like he does Bedside Baptist. He is a Christian. So, I was like, okay, well, that's great. Once again, I'm still not interested in Marie. However, that's besides the point. Also, Marie talks about his non-negotiable, and his was, living a healthy lifestyle. And I made like a face. They definitely paint me on this show as like I said, the preppy Black girl who's out of touch. And I'm very healthy. And so it made it seem like I was saying that he isn't healthy, which that was not the shade. I think I was just like, okay, tell me more. Like, what do you mean? That's a high non-negotiable that someone's healthy. But of course, these episodes are 45 minutes. They're not going to go into big, into depth. And so that's what happened on one of my dates. Also, I had a date with, it was another group date. It was with Quentin and Unique. This is when I asked Quentin the white girl question, which has been all over social media. The reason why so many people have, I won't say they were dragging me, but they started to drag me on. So I asked Quentin, he looks like the type of guy that would date white women, and what is his preference when it comes to who he likes. Let's be honest, guys. Cat out the bag. Everyone has a preference. Stop acting like you don't. Because you did, okay? And so I thought that the question was not inappropriate. Now, could I have worded it better? Absolutely. Now looking back, I'm like, dang, did we even need to ask that question, Keyra? But I'm really direct. I know I said it in the lounge like a few episodes ago, so I felt like it was only right to ask him instead of assume, because I'm not an assuming type of gal. And he seemed very offended by the question, which I understand because I get the question often and I'm offended as well. But I get offended and then I kind of chuckle. He was offended and seemed like he didn't even want to kind of, you know, even give each other a chance, which was fine because I was like, on to the next. What else happened in this episode? Oh, this is also when the men went and they talked to Tommy, and I was kind of in the bottom. So they take me on a date. Mario takes me on a date, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Keyra, like the men think you're beautiful, but they're questioning your, Black culture." Which this is where I was very offended. So yes, I asked Quentin if he had like what was his preference. That was a preference question. But now Mario is asking me about my Black culture. That is not a preference question. That is a character digging at me question. So I was not too fond of Mario after this. Honestly, I was ready to be done. But of course, they put me on another date with him because that only makes sense, I guess, to them. And so it was me and Unique in the bottom. Unique ended up going home, and I was able to stay. And so that leads into episode 6. Episode 6 is when I actually have a date with Herbert. Herbert was one of my connections. I just think that he was a guy that I felt like he felt like a leader. He's tall, he's smart, and he's articulate. But I also figured out I don't know if I liked Herbert because he didn't really answer a lot of questions. So, honey, it was just like, it was episode 6. This is when I was like, okay, come on, send me home because I'm good on all these men. My only connections were the Chris, which was the new Chris, Herbert at the time before I really started to get to know him, and I was kind of like, eh. And I liked Red and Habibi, but Habibi and Red had already been eliminated. Okay, so now I'm kind of just stuck with my other two, which is Christopher and Herbert. So Herbert came over and made him some dinner. I made him some what did I make him? What was it? Oh, I made him some etouffee with some asparagus. It was super yummy. We did a TikTok dance, which it was fun because I felt like I was bringing him into my world. Because if you know me, the reason why my brand is Your Real Estate Cheerleader is because I'm a former Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. I've danced my whole life, and I just really feel like I cheer people on in life. So I brought him into my world. We did a dance. It was super cute. I thought we had a good time, but then when I heard his reaction, which was like, she's fun, but I don't know if there's anything deeper. I was like, okay, honey, you could have told me that at my house instead of in your confessionals. What else happened in episode 6? Oh, episode 6 is also when I went into the lounge. We were talking about all the dates. That is when me and Janelle got into it, which she gets into it with everyone. Let's just be honest. And so Janelle was like, Keyra, like, stop messing people's names up. And I'm like, girl, I date multiple people. Like, I do think it's good to date 2 or 3 people at the same time. But I've never dated 8 people at the same time, which remembering everyone's name and everyone's story, honey, it was just a lot on me. It was a lot. Do you hear me? So I started messing up on Maria's name, and she was like, you need to cut it out. Like, Keyra only tries to throw digs when she's being checked. And I'm just like, girl, cut it out. I don't even understand what all the animosity is about. I don't know why you don't like me. I did nothing to you. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's another video for a never time. And so, yes, I said never time because I don't plan on doing a video about her. Anywho, we get into it. She shows her true character, who she is. She likes to get into it with people. I don't know why, but that's just what she does. And then Tommy kind of chimes in and is just like, let's just be respectful. And that's what we do. So then Tommy also talks about a curveball. So in this episode, we have to eliminate 2 men. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Please don't be anybody that I like because I already have slim pickings. Only like Herbert and Chris at the time. I'm like, oh, please don't let it be one of them. But the women obviously say they don't like the new Chris, which I don't feel like they gave him a full chance, but that's my opinion. I thought he was a great guy. I thought he was nice. I think he had big potential, but anywho, on this episode 6, he gets cut. It was Chris gets cut and Marvin gets cut. Marvin is the one who is into, an open lifestyle, swinging / seeing his girl have sex with other people, or his girl watch him have sex with other people. Just open a swinging relationship. If you've watched Ready to Love, you know who Marvin is. So both of them go home, and I'm like, oh Jesus. So now it's kind of like down to just Herbert. And I've kind of, going into episode 7, I'm like, I don't really have high hopes for Herbert just because he's inconsistent with communication. And I like to be pursued. I love to be pursued, and that's what I'm used to, men pursuing me. And he just was not laying it on heavy enough for me. So in episode 7 is when we meet the exes. Okay, so I meet Phil's ex, which I feel like producers were being a little petty because I met his ex, and his ex was Latino. And I felt like they wanted me to say, oh, is your preference Latinos or is it Black women? But that goes to show that, like, you should ask people's preference, because I never asked Phil his preference because I never really, in my opinion, like, I never really liked Phil in that way. I thought he was a great guy. I think he's for someone, just not for me. So when we met his ex, I told him, like, I love affection. I love to be touched. That's one of my love languages. And I also told him I would prefer to be with a man who doesn't have children. And he felt like that was a red flag. But I'm like, sweetheart, you're 12 years older than me. Why would I want to be with someone who's been married and had kids already? That's a little unfair to me. So let's be honest. I just don't think we were compatible. I don't know why they put me on this date, but I'm being a good sport, and I'm here. I'm going to eat, and I'm going to drink, and I'm going to have a good time, and I'm going to leave. And that's what I did. So after Phil's date, what else happened? Oh, and this is the episode where I get eliminated, which I'm like, praise Jesus. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Won't he do it? And so what they did was they sent me and Herbert on another date. And like I said, me and Herbert were kind of, he was in my top, and then he kind of started to fizzle just because, like I said, he wasn't pursuing me. So at the date, I already knew who was going to eliminate me. Well, I didn't know, but I was praying. I mean, I was like, God, you know my heart. Please allow me to just, go home, because I don't want to keep putting myself through this. I wasn't getting along with the women, and I surely wasn't caring for the men. So I was like, why am I here? So Herbert gets there. He tells me what the men say in the lounge, and I get eliminated this episode 7. And he just says basically people are questioning my Black culture still, and they are questioning really if I want to be with a man who has kids, which I am open to men who have kids when I turn 32. But right now, 30 to 32, I do want to date men who don't have kids. And that's my preference. I want that first child experience to be for both of me and my husband, not just for me. Also, the Black culture thing. I kind of touch base on on other interviews that I had. I even made a public statement, which was just apologizing if anything that I said on the show came off the wrong way. I love my culture. I love who I am. I wake up Black every day. And I just didn't like the fact that I had to prove my Blackness to the people on the show. And so I think it was best for me to leave when I left. And I also think that if they really felt like I didn't like Black men or I wasn't for the Black culture, they could have eliminated me way back. However, they kept me around. And so I just feel like the narrative that they wanted to paint once again is the preppy Black girl who's out of touch. And I will say, the internet dragged me for at least 2 to 3 weeks. It made me very sad. I kind of went to a dark place, but once again, I know who I am and whose I am. And I felt like once I got eliminated on episode 7, I just felt like God relieved a big burden off my shoulder. I've been feeling so great ever since. I feel like I have my peace back and I have a good life. I don't like a lot of drama, and this show brought a lot of drama, guys. So yeah, that was episode 7. Going into episode 8, this is when everyone was meeting the friends. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I only really want to talk about myself. So I'm not going to really touch base on episode 8. I do encourage you to go watch the show and support. And what I'll do is I'm going to do a recap on the reunion. So I'm at in episode 8 through 10, which is 3 episodes, and then 11 through 12 is the reunion. They cut it up into 2 different parts. So I'll do a recap on the reunion. I hope this video has brought you a little bit more clarity about the narrative they painted and also who I actually am, which is someone who is super peppy. I love people, but just don't think that these were some of the people that I needed to love, and that's okay. So also, if you are in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and you are looking for a trusted real estate agent, allow me to help you and be your real estate cheerleader and help you take ownership of where you live and how you live. And I hope this video has given you a little bit more insight on the Ready to Love Dallas, really our experience and basically what has happened. But I cannot wait to do the recap of the reunion so I can really spill the tea about the entire season. So yeah, hope this has brought you value. Hope you've enjoyed. I'm hoping I gave you a couple of chuckles along the way. And make sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button. And I love you so much. Comment in the comments too, because it does help me on this YouTube journey that I'm on. So I love you, friends. Until next time. Peace!
Oh my gosh, there she is. It's Keyra Ford. Keyra Ford. You don't know what? Never heard? Oh my gosh, she slays every time.